What is going on, lads? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well. Linkin Park are back 4 months later, 4.5 months later, give or take, with a deluxe version of From Zero. Now, From Zero was my 7th favorite album of 2024, last year. Not a bad album. Not gonna lie, I've not gone back to the album in its entirety, but there is some heater tracks on that album. Now, they are back with Up From The Bottom, which is the first single off of the deluxe version of the album. And to make this video a little bit more entertaining, I'm going to tier list the entire album and include the song in that tier list to see how it stacks up to the other tracks in the album. Because obviously a deluxe version of an album is pretty important. Like you want to get the single right. You want to get the first song back right, because there has to be some reason for people to want to extend their experience with the original album. Now, I'm going to blur it for now, but as you can see, I've already tier listed the album From Zero itself, and I'm going to include the new song in that tier list to see where it stacks up against the other songs on this album. So I'm going to blur this already, so you guys will have to wait until the end of the video to see where I've ranked all the other songs. But without any further ado, let's listen to the new song. Fun fact, 77% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. That number is absurdly high. YouTube's recommended is so good nowadays that you don't really need to click the subscribe button, but it does really help channels out a lot. So if you are watching and you do enjoy my content regularly, please do consider hitting the subscribe button. Now let's get into the video. Hello, Emily. I've seen that shot before. Let's go, Mike. You keep me waiting down here, so far below, staring up from the bottom, up from the bottom. I'll try escaping, but there's nowhere to go. Staring up from the bottom, up from the bottom. Good energy. I like the energy. Each time I hold my fist inside my palm, gonna need to hear that chorus again before I'm sold. I like hearing Mike included a little bit more. You keep me waiting down here, so far below, staring up from the bottom, up from the bottom. I'll try escaping, but there's nowhere to go. Staring up from the bottom, up from the bottom. Everybody out there, devil is coming. Poison on his lips and his words mean nothing. Cold like a mountaintop, father never loved him. Mama said he's bad enough times that it's sunk in. Everybody out there, devil is coming. Promise you the world, but he's always bluffing. Before you even know it's a trap you're stuck in, he's gone like a ghost already off running. Alright. Oh boy. Oh brother. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, we have the tier list back up again, and I now have revealed my positioning for the tracks off of From Zero. Now, bearing in mind, I've had a lot of time to actually listen to these songs, and, you know, I've done the full album review, and, you know, my thoughts are out there. So, The Emptiness Machine, I don't think is a surprise to anyone. That was the lead single that they dropped when Emily was announced, and that song just kept getting better. I rinsed that song into the ground, but it is the best song on the album. I didn't do these actual tier lists. I just found one on Tier List Maker, by the way. So yeah, there's an extremely loud noise happening outside. So please just ignore that. I can't do anything about it. I'm sorry. Absolutely Divine. Again, I didn't make these categories, but I just figured this is like S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, and F tier, or whatever. Or E, F, G, F tier. Yes. Whatever. E tier. What? A, B, S, A, B, C, D, E. It's E tier, okay? But like, I mean, E tier, bad, F. What am I talking about? I don't know. Absolutely Divine. I mean, that's a bit dramatic, but it is the equivalent of A tier. I would put Two-Faced. That's the only song I would put in the A tier. I think these are all bangers. Heavy as the Crown is a solid banger. That could potentially go... See, it's just more the wording of this that I don't agree with. I would say Heavy as the Crown is similar to Two-Faced, but I don't think it's an absolutely divine song. I do think it's a strong banger, but Absolutely Divine is crazy. But Two-Faced, I would say, is absolutely divine by the definition of whoever made this tier list. Stained, Over Each Other. This is kind of a surprise banger for me, to be honest. This is one that I didn't really resonate with too much when I first heard it, but that melody got stuck in my head a lot when I heard it. So, Casualty, Overflow, and Cut the Bridge. I really just didn't really enjoy these songs. Cut the Bridge, I really didn't enjoy. I remember that song being quite jarring. I listened back to it again just before we listened to this song, and just it doesn't do much for me. This is just an song. I don't think it's bad. But anyway, that leads us on to where we're at now with this, which is the new song, Up From the Bottom. And having heard it like once or twice more, it ain't a banger. Put it that way, it ain't a banger. I would say it's the top of the middle tier. So it's like maybe on a couple more listens, it will become a banger. But I gotta put it in here. I think it's the top of middle tier compared to these two. It ain't quite a banger based on the definitions that we have here. Now, reasons as to why I believe that it is not considered a banger based on this tier list, and it is just kind of like a mid-tier Linkin Park track. It's not bad, but I think as the like lead single of the deluxe version of the album, this really gives me the vibes that this is almost like B-side of an album, because although it does sound like the new version of Linkin Park that we were like awoken to with the From Zero album, it just doesn't really do much anything special to like make it stand out as one of the songs that I guess if we were to release From Zero again with this song on it, this song would fall into that category, in that mid-tier category. Like, you know, all of the other songs have had time to grow on me or like fall off a little bit in my estimations, and this is like a fresh song. And you would think like, oh, there might be some recency bias where it might actually shoot it up, but this song doesn't really do much to, I guess, separate itself or distinguish itself from the album. And it makes sense because it's an extension of the album, so it should sound similar, but I just don't think the chorus melodies or the verses really did much. I think the bridge section is the standout section in this song in terms of like giving it a unique identity to the other songs in the album, because we had like a very hip-hop inspired section, like kind of trap beats, this like really heavy like 808 like subwoofer sound, whilst Mike comes in to like tee up the, I guess, the extension of the bridge, and then the chorus again, and then we fade out. So it ain't bad. I just don't think the vocal melody on a first couple listens really does much for me. Like if we're comparing it to some of the vocal melodies like Two-Faced, The Emptiness Machine, even Heavy as the Crown, Stained has a great vocal melody. There's some really good melodies in this album. I just don't think this on a first listen, and even a couple more listens after, does much to like stack up against those. Like I said, the bridge was pretty cool, and I think the most controversial thing that I have to say right now, and hear me out on this, don't just click off because I say it, but the only thing at this point that I think is actually making me enjoy Mike Shinoda, okay, this is harsh because it's not the only thing. I think Mike Shinoda is obviously a very unique artist, but there's something about his style that when I listen to it these days just sounds a little bit outdated. And I think the only thing that I enjoy about his delivery these days is the insane amount of nostalgia that his sound and style is drenched in. Obviously, we've had years of like listening to Linkin Park and such an iconic band, but it does feel like that kind of like style, that rap style that he has. Maybe it's just because I've heard him do it for so many years that it feels outdated on me, and maybe that's not the fairest criticism, but I gotta be honest and say that when I listen to Mike Shinoda's style now, it does kind of feel like I get teleported back to like the fucking 2000s, which I guess isn't that fair on him because his style is really, really unique and cool, and you know instantly when it's Mike Shinoda, but there's just something about it that, I don't know, I think his verses become very predictable, which I feel like was the case in this song. However, to go back to the bridge where the like hip hop section comes in, I think that was quite unique. And again, that's like the selling point of the song being a standout on this entire album. But I just don't think it was strong enough to like make me care that much. So ultimately, this has not really made me that excited for a deluxe version. I wasn't that ecstatic about it anyway, but this didn't do anything to like spark my interest and reignite my ignition, you know, reignite my spirit to go and check out, oh my God, like there's an extension of From Zero. Maybe we'll have some better songs on it, but this to me is, back to the tier list, a middle tier Linkin Park song in their modern era. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please leave a like in the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.